What if the deepest truths of the universe weren't hidden in complex philosophical treatises, but in simple stories about farmers, shepherds, and housewives? Imagine a teacher who, to reveal the nature of reality, didn't use logical arguments, but narrative puzzles. Stories about hidden treasures, rebellious sons, and tiny seeds. These weren't just fables. They were the parables of Jesus, a teaching method so brilliant and subversive that it captivated the common person, confounded the powerful, and, 2,000 years later, continues to challenge our understanding of the world. Stick with us, because we're about to decode the hidden genius of these stories and uncover the revolutionary truths they conceal. To understand the parables, we must first understand why Jesus used them. They weren't just to simplify complex ideas, they were a filter. Jesus himself explained that his stories operated on two levels. For those with an open heart, they were windows into the secrets of the kingdom of heaven. But for those with a closed mind, filled with prejudice, they were merely riddles. The parables don't just give you the answer, they invite you to find it. They force you to think, to question, and to participate in the discovery. Let's begin with perhaps the most emotionally powerful, the parable of the prodigal son, or, as many now call it, the parable of the running father. The story is a universal family drama. A younger son asks for his inheritance, an act that in that culture was like saying, "I wish you were dead." He leaves and squanders it all. When a famine leaves him destitute, feeding pigs and longing for their food, the lowest point for a Jew, he comes to his senses. He decides to return, not expecting to be a son again, but a hired hand. And here, the story shatters all expectations. The father sees him while he was still a long way off, implying he had been watching the horizon every single day, and he runs to him, an act considered undignified for a patriarch of that era. There are no lectures, no "I told you" so's, only an embrace, a kiss, and a command for a celebration, the best robe, a ring, sandals, a complete restoration of identity. The parable paints a radical picture of God, not as a judge waiting for an apology, but as a father whose love is scandalous and runs to meet us in our brokenness. But the genius of the parable lies with the older brother. The faithful son, the one who never left, is filled with rage at the celebration. His complaint is a cry of self-righteousness. "I've slaved for you, and you never gave me anything. But when this son of yours who wasted your money comes home, you kill the fattened calf." The parable ends with the father pleading with him to join the party, leaving us with an open question. Jesus doesn't tell us if the older brother went in, because the question is for us. Can you stand the grace given to someone you think doesn't deserve it? Which of the two sons are you? Now, for a parable that demolishes social barriers, the Good Samaritan. An expert in the law asks Jesus, "And who is my neighbor?" Jesus replies with a story. A man is robbed and left for dead. A priest sees him and crosses the road. A Levite, a temple assistant, does the same. The religious figures, the good guys, avoid the wounded man. Then the unlikely hero appears, a Samaritan. To Jesus' audience, Samaritans were despised enemies. Yet it is he who stops, moved by compassion. He cleans the man's wounds, puts him on his own animal, takes him to an inn, and pays for his care. At the end, Jesus flips the question, which of these three was a neighbor to the man? The answer is clear. Neighbor isn't who lives near you or believes like you. Neighbor is who you choose to be for someone in need. It's a call to action that transcends all boundaries. Jesus also used parables to describe his kingdom. In the parable of the mustard seed, he compares the kingdom to the smallest of all seeds, which grows into a tree so large that birds can nest in it. The message is counterintuitive. The world expected change with power and might, but Jesus says his kingdom starts almost invisibly, humbly, yet its growth is organic and unstoppable, destined to become a global force of shelter and life. But not all parables are comforting. Some are stark warnings. In the parable of the talents, a master entrusts his wealth to 3 servants, to invest and double it, and are rewarded. The third, out of fear, buries his single talent. When the master returns, he calls him a wicked, lazy servant and takes his talent away. The message is uncomfortable. Inaction born of fear is not prudence. It's unfaithfulness. We have been given life, gifts, and opportunities, and we are expected to use them, to take risks, and to produce a return. Perhaps the key parable to understanding all others is that of the sower. The seed is the word of God, and the different soils represent our hearts. Are we a hardened path where truth can't penetrate? A rocky ground, enthusiastic at first, but with no depth? A thorny soil, where worries and wealth choke out growth? Or are we good soil, ready to receive the seed and let it transform our lives? The parables of Jesus are masterpieces of communication. They are mirrors that force us to look at ourselves, to question our priorities, and to decide what kind of people we want to be. They invite us into a world where forgiveness is limitless, mercy triumphs over judgment, and love is the most powerful force in the universe. They are stories that, to millennia later, are still sowing questions in the heart of humanity. The parables of Jesus are an invitation to deep reflection that cuts across the centuries. Which of these stories spoke to you or challenged you the most? Let us know in the comments. And if you want to continue decoding the most profound teachings in history, subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell. Until our next journey into wisdom.